let's queer up out South Florida. Familiar faces start new jobs in South Florida nonprofits. The LGBTQ+ community supports and is supported by myriad philanthropic groups, from healthcare to access to PrEP to counseling, house and food insecurity, and more. We have formed important infrastructure to keep our community thriving. In this week's Out South Florida, I look at two organizations announcing big moves. First, Terry Dyer has joined CAN Community Health as Director of Donor Development. He will be helping grow the organization during a period of accelerating growth. While he has experience working in corporate America, he has worked in nonprofits since moving to South Florida about 3 years ago, including SunServe and most recently at World AIDS Museum. The other big announcement comes from PRISM. Founder and Happening Out contributor Maxx Fenning is now the group's executive director. This means he can focus full-time on PRISM's mission of inclusion and health for LGBTQ+ youth. For most of us, these appointments are far from tectonic shifts in our lives. But for the people they serve, it can mean the world. Fresh eyes, fresh perspectives, fresh pitches to donors. They, like so many others in the nonprofit world, have the opportunity to quietly impact our community. You can read more about Dyer, Fenning, and their organizations in this week's Out South Florida online and on Stands Now. And, you know, I do a lot of reporting on the community, especially in the nonprofit space. And I've just really enjoyed getting to know these two, and more importantly, the organizations, because I've worked with them behind the scenes, CAN before Terry joined, and with Maxx when he was just the founder and president. And
right.
So he's, so they're good ones, and I just enjoy being able to get out and see all the good that's our community and bring it to people, because if I weren't looking for it, I wouldn't see it. And I know that a lot of other people wouldn't see it as well. So I'm a giver. It's community service.
You are. It is community service. And I love the pictures of these two. You see Terry Dyer, right? Terry Dyer is exceptional. He can work anywhere. That's just who he is, right? He's got that great, perfect real estate picture. Right. And then you have Maxx Fenning, right? Who's just like a little goofy guy. We love Maxx. But now that you're ED, I expect for you to pay for drinks next time.
Well, you know, coming from a nonprofit, you know, we're really lucky that we do have a lot of wonderful talent here in South Florida. And the nonprofit organizations that are here really, really work hard to meet the needs of folks. And coming from the nonprofit perspective, working with LGBT seniors, the general community really doesn't know the magnitude of the needs that our community has. So best of luck to both of these gentlemen.
And there's a lot of hard work that goes into these nonprofits. I mean, when you even look at the missions of a lot of these organizations, not only here in South Florida, but across the United States and the world, the things that these organizations are involved in are absolutely incredible. What they're raising awareness for, what they're raising funds for. You know, I spent a greater part of my career working in nonprofit, but in the arts. You know, so it's pretty incredible from every aspect, you know, from nonprofit, how we can get involved.
You know, I think one of the big leads that come out of John's story is CAN itself. CAN is very important to our community, but in a secondary way. They're the principal sponsorship and backer of the Smart Ride for Glenn Weinzimmer and Todd Del May, and CAN has for years and years been very invested in that. They're an organization based on the west coast of Florida, and they really haven't had a seat here in South Florida. And now with the integration, let's use the word integration, with Midland and Midland Health's mission in Oakland Park and here in Broward County being combined with Community AIDS Network, it gives CAN a seat here in our own backyard. Very, very important because of the Smart Ride, and also just because of the growing strength of the South Florida LGBTQ community and how important healthcare is to our community. So we welcome CAN's growing presence here in South Florida, which is really what your story's about.
Yeah.
And for Maxx Fenning, There is no greater need in our community, in my opinion, than our embracement of young LGBT. We see it in attack in Don't Say Gay. We see it in attack from our governor in the supermajority. We see it in attack in trying to minimize Gen Z and millennials, and Maxx has been recognized repeatedly as one of those voices that is trying to help shield the community, and along with Safe Schools, South Florida, has been one of the leading voices in this lane. And for Wilton Drive, who's got older, privileged white guy down to a T,
Right.
we need Maxx Fennings, even with the interesting picture that we just Maxx Fenning. We love you, Maxx.
Yeah.
You're doing a great job for your community, which means our community. We are Queer News Tonight, the world's first and only live daily LGBTQ+ evening news show, brought to you from Happening Out Television Network. We operate in the same model of PBS and NPR, but for the LGBTQ+ community. We educate, inform, and entertain by supporting the 10 pillars of our LGBTQ+ community, with more than 100,000 a week watching us on Roku, Apple Television, and other channels. To keep the story going, we accept donations with 100% transparency. Stay updated and live authentically with Queer News Tonight.